In this lecture, I'm going to take you through 7 words connected with upward trends. And the 7 words are rise, increase, soar, leap, rocket, climb, and peak. So the first word is rise. Rise. So rise can be a noun or a verb, means something going up. Usually numbers will go up. So for example, between 1999 and 2000 there was a modest rise. A modest rise, just a small one. There was a dramatic rise between 2010 and 2011. Very big rise. Rise normally needs an adjective to go with it because rise is a very neutral word. We can talk about a rise in numbers, but we need things like dramatic rise, sudden rise, modest rise to give the word meaning. So it's a noun and a verb. As a verb, you can have rises, rising. Rose is the past simple form. And some synonyms for rise. Go up, increase, climb. Climb. Your next word is increase. Increase. Increase means pretty much the same as rise. Means things going up. So between 1999 and 2000 there was a slight increase. Or you could say a modest increase or a small increase. Numbers increased dramatically between 2010 and 2011. So a big increase. Again, like rise, increase is a fairly neutral word, so it often needs an adjective to go with it, or an adverb. So here, increase is being used as a verb, so you say increase slightly, increase dramatically. And here, these last 2 examples, increase is a noun, so a small increase. A sudden increase. So here's the noun, but as a verb, increases, increasing, increased. And some synonyms for increase: go up, rise, climb. Your next word is soar. Soar. When something soars, it goes up quickly. It goes up dramatically. So between 2010 and 2011, numbers soared. They went up really quickly, like a bird suddenly flying up into the air. You could also say between 2010 and 2011, numbers soared to just over 80. Because soar means to go up dramatically or quickly, and to go up very high, then you don't need to say things like soar dramatically or soar quickly. Soar already means, already suggests dramatic rises or quick rises, but you can say things like numbers soar, prices soar, soar upwards, soar to a peak of 84, for example. It's a verb, so you can have these different forms. And for synonyms, ascend. Ascend suggests going up very high. Rocket suggests going up very high and very quickly, or shoot up. Your next word is leap. Leap. Leap means something that goes up suddenly, perhaps even quicker than soar, but maybe not as high. I mean, here for example, is a high jumper. She leapt off the ground, high up, quickly, suddenly. And here's an example sentence. Between 2010 and 2011, numbers leapt to just over 80. So it's a sudden burst of energy, Just like the high jumper needs a sudden burst of energy to get over the bar, that's a sudden burst of energy to get to just over 80. Same time point between 2010 and 2011, numbers leapt from just under 30 to just over 80. So you can use from and to. You can use from and to with other words too, like increase from and to, rise from and to. You can have suddenly leapt as a collocation, or a sudden leap. Leap up. Leap from and to. Note you don't say leap down. Numbers don't leap down, they leap up. It's an upward trend. You can leap out of things. If you're in a plane and you jump out of the plane, then you leap out of the plane and then you fall down afterwards. So leap can be a noun or a verb. So a leap or to leap. And there's the present simple and the present continuous leaping. The past simple, there are actually two ways you can spell this: leaped with an ed ending, or leapt, leaped or leapt. So a slightly different pronunciation. The t ending here, leapt, is slightly more common in British English, and the ed ending is slightly more common in American English, but they're both okay. So some synonyms for leap: surge, soar, rocket. And here in fact is the word rocket. Rocket. If numbers rocket, they go up very, very rapidly. It suggests right into the sky, into space in fact, like the space shuttle on its rocket. It's moving up very, very, very fast. Much faster than surge or soar or leap, and much, much higher. Takes numbers into the sky, way above anything else. Now I wouldn't use rocket in this graph. You see, the rise in numbers from 2010 to 2011 only brings numbers back to the level at the start of the graph, so the numbers aren't way above the others, but if the graph were like this, then you could use rocket for the increase between 2010 and 2011. Because the numbers in 2011 are way above anything else. So there you could say something like, between 2010 and 2011, numbers rocketed to just over 80. Personally, I think rocketed is a bit of an informal word to use when you're writing, but it's good to use when you're writing because it does show a range in vocabulary. But I'm not a big fan of the word. Here's another one. Numbers rocketed from 2010 to 2011. Prices rocket. You can use that that's a common collocation. Numbers rocketed. Suddenly rocketed. I wouldn't use quickly rocketed because rocketed already suggests quickly. And it's a verb, so you can use rockets, rocketing, rocketed. And some synonyms for rocket: surge, leapt or leaped, and soar. So another word for upwards trends is climb. Here's a mountaineer climbing, going up a mountain. We don't know if he's doing it quickly or slowly, so it's similar to rise and increase, but the word climb suggests going up quite a lot. So I wouldn't use climb for the rise from 1999 to 2000. It's very small. Climb suggests a kind of moderate to large rise. So I wouldn't use climb for this part. But I would use climb in this kind of sentence. So between 2010 and 2011, numbers climbed rapidly to just over 80. And some common collocations: climb rapidly, climb steeply, climb slowly, climb steadily. Climb again, like increase and rise, is quite a neutral word, so it's good to have an adverb next to it. So climbs, climbing, climbed, climbed. So some synonyms for climb: grow, rise, increase, go up. And your next word is peak. Peak. Peak means the highest point, the top of something. So here's the top of a mountain, the highest point of a mountain. It looks like someone has leapt off the peak of the mountain, actually. So peak. So here's an example sentence. Numbers reached a peak of about 85 in 2011. Over here. Actually, it's 84 to be exact, but you can say about 85 when you're writing. Here's the end of a sentence: reaching a peak of approximately 85 in 2011. So maybe here you'd say numbers increased rapidly from 2010, reaching a peak of approximately 85 in 2011. There's your peak. Numbers peaked at almost 85 in 2011. So we talk about you reached a peak, reaching a peak, peaked at, rise to a peak. And peaks, you can use peaking, peaking at 85, peaked at. And some synonyms for peak: highest point. That's if you're using it as a noun: the peak, the highest point, the greatest point, the top. And maximum. So those are noun forms for peak. So there are your 7 upward trends words: rise, increase, soar, leap, rocket, climb and peak.